Good to be here again. Last time I spoke here about 5 years ago before COVID. And one of the predictions that I had, which is kind of came to be true, what I hoped that it wouldn't come to be true, is that crypto in about 5 years will still be below the 1% of people in the world that they're actually using it. Maybe it's time to kind of change that. I mean, it's been around for about 15 years, and many people, they keep saying, it's still too early, still too early. It's not early at all. 15 years is a long time. I've been in AI pretty much all my life. 2002, I had my first exit. It was using anomaly detection at the time, using a lot of algorithms. Back in the days when we all thought banks are the good guys, you want to help them catch, from anti-money laundering, terrorist financing, and so on and so forth. But then it turns out when they shrink a whole list of, let's say, 800,000 trades per day, the software gives them about 80, but they go and freeze all the 80, and they call it false positive or whatnot later on. And at the time, I felt that this is kind of like a crime against humanity, and we all, I think we have a reason or another to be here. And I'm a strong believer that self-sovereignty is something extremely important. Who's of you, you know what self-sovereignty is? Raise a hand. All right, cool. I'm going to tell you about Ring of Rings. It's basically how did this come to life and why we brought it. This isn't a company. This isn't something that I have any ownership in it. About 2.5 years ago, I was at the AGI Summit. How many of you know what AGI stands for? Okay, cool. So AGI stands for Artificial General Intelligence. And in AI, it is believed that in order to get to ASI, Artificial Superintelligence, there's a crossroad that we need to get to first. That's called AGI. So currently in the world, whether you know it or not, the reality remains that there's a race towards AGI. Every large company, they think like, Meta, they think they're going to get to AGI first, although they don't call it AGI there. You have Google. So I asked the question, who's going to win that race? Is it going to be Tencent? Is it going to be Microsoft? Is it going to be Chinese government? Is it going to be US government? And, or maybe it is going to be the Internet of AI. And what I meant by the Internet of AI, many people there, know multi-agent system. They said, do you mean Marvin Minsky, 1983? How many of you know Marvin Minsky? Okay, well, Marvin Minsky is known to be more like the godfather of AI. He passed a few years ago. Anyway, so multi-agent system is basically the ability to have the AI agents to talk to other AI agents the same way you, Homo sapien, cannot talk to each other without having anyone in the middle. Now, why is that so important for multi-agent system? Because the way you settle any transaction, if you depend on a third party, you can perhaps tolerate that third party, whether you call it ledger-based blockchain, or whether you call it bank, or government, or registry. A multi-agent system cannot depend on a third party because it takes way too long. So many people in the audience at the time, they said, well, that's not possible because multi-agent systems have been tried many times and they have to depend on a third party. Of course, many people, they said they knew about what I do. I'm the author of Toda.ip. They said, unless you run it on Toda.ip. 6 weeks later, they said, we want to build this AGI on Toda.ip. Do you want to be involved? I said, I'll take a lead in that. Shortly after October 2022, we opened this thing that is called Hypercycle.ai. focus on revenue first. Up until now, we have 483,500 nodes that we have sold. And those are more like node factories. So we use the vast majority of our revenue to invest in a lot of startups. Currently, we invest in about 21 startups. One of them, it's called Hyperring. And Hyperring is effectively ring that you wear. It puts like security in people's hands. So the CEO, her name is Joy Zhang. We initially hired her as EIR, Executive in Residence. She noticed that most of her clients, like those are their rings, if any one of you is interested, check them out. So she noticed that the vast majority of her clients, they tell her, we will buy from you, but so long as you have nothing to do with crypto, or we shut down your bank account type of thing. So I'm sure many of you who's been in crypto for quite some time, you know this is like not news. If you are in crypto, the banks, they shut you down or whatnot. But that's because there's a lot of scams in crypto, and then they kind of make it into the news. I've been in crypto before crypto was called crypto, and I know with 100% certainty, some of the best people in the world, they are in crypto. Sure, you probably find the worst people too. Those best people, they deserve to be out there in the entire world, and the entire world deserves them as well. So we then said to Joy, let's do this. You go ahead, take your clients, but we will launch something to combat that. And we call it Ring of Rings. So it's a double play on rings. So it's effectively you have a ring of people of many different rings. And of course, they also have the rings. So what Ring of Rings is effectively 30 founders. There is no self-minting or whatnot. It's there is no a token that comes into circulations without getting tapped. And effectively, it gives this additional level of security for people that they are in the crypto, but the legitimate crypto, to bring it to the rest of the world. So 32 community founders. It could be somebody from Cardano, somebody from Avalanche, somebody from Bitcoin, somebody from Ethereum. 5 top 20 ledgers, 5 top 20 exchanges, 5 top 20 wallets, and so on and so forth. They will be making announcements in September, who they are, the founders. Of course, there's still some room for some founders. So if any one of you believe that you represent some community, you don't have to be Charles Hoskinson to represent Cardano. In fact, in 2 days, the gentleman who is representing Cardano, his name is Rand, and I will be announcing him in Vegas in his event called Rare Evo. So this is the very first announcement for Ring of Rings. You're the first to hear it publicly. And it is called Zero KPR. It is that thing that it's not a company. It's not owned by anybody. I don't have any ownership in it, and I will never have any ownership because it will never be a company. It is there as a movement by legitimate crypto that cleans itself every week. People, they vote themselves every week, and to take legitimate crypto to the rest of the world. It's called Zero KPR. Their token, each and every community will have about $10 million worth of those tokens. The community manager will receive $40,000 per week to go and spread it to their community so they can tap it. So I truly believe people here in the room may feel like they really want to take legitimate crypto to the rest of the world. And I think this is a huge opportunity to partake in it. If folks, they feel interested, there are a couple of robots that they're roaming around. One of them represents the anti-crypto, and one of them is the Ring of Rings. If there are certain scams in crypto, that does not mean the entire crypto is scam. That does not mean crypto needs to be scratched. There's a lot of phenomenal things that are coming out of crypto, such as zero knowledge proof, which banks, they use it, by the way. How many of you know what zero knowledge proof? Raise your hand. Of course. So I continue working with Hypercycle. I am the CEO of Hypercycle. We continue spreading, enabling every Homo sapien to partake in that wealth creation. And as we grow there, we hope to see you all grow into the rest of the world. Thank you very much.